Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and we are in full swing of harvest season. That means witches, that means gourds, that means pumpkins, that means turkeys. Yes, Thanksgiving's gonna be here before you know it, and I'm gonna create a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving menu for your table. So I'm gonna start by making a soup. Now, soup is very, very common at Thanksgiving, right? There's butternut squash soup, which I absolutely love, but this soup, in my opinion, is a little bit better than that even. So we're gonna make a different kind of soup. This is a soup that squirrels would love, because we're making acorn squash soup. And I'm just kidding about the squirrel part, by the way. Squirrels wouldn't actually eat these kind of acorns. They eat actual acorns from trees. These are just squash that are shaped like acorn. And they're even sweeter than a butternut squash. But the way that we prepare this soup, it's gonna make the flavors unbelievable. You're gonna love it. Everyone at the table is gonna be licking their bowls up. So guys, I'm gonna show you how to make the most amazing and easy acorn squash soup. The perfect starter for any Thanksgiving. So we want to begin with 2 acorn squash. I'm only showing you one of them right now, but I am using 2, and we call them an acorn squash because they're shaped like acorns. So we're going to cut them down the center, and then using an ice cream scooper, scoop all the seeds out. You can scoop all the seeds out of there, and again, you can bake them if you want to, or you can throw them out. You want to plant more acorn squash? Plant more acorn squash. Alright, and then once we've scooped all the seeds out of all of our acorn squash, again I'm using 2 squash halved, and then as all the seeds scooped out, we're going to go to the Instant Pot. So I'm going to add the trivet to the Instant Pot, and then I'm going to add 1 cup of water. Now let's place our acorn squash in the pot and make sure it fits. And then just layer and maneuver the acorn squash so it fits properly inside the Instant Pot. It kind of looks like mango or papaya a little bit, doesn't it? So that the lid fits right on top and securely locks. See that? Perfect. Make sure we're in sealing position. Let's come down to our pot and hit manual or pressure cook depending on your model, and we're gonna go simply for 6 minutes, guys. 6 minutes. That's it. And while our squash is cooking in the Instant Pot, let's take 3 shallots and dice them up. Now that we're all done, let's do a quick release. And our pin just dropped, so let's take the lid off, and there is our acorn squash all done. All right, we're gonna transfer it now carefully. And I'm gonna use some tongs, so just be careful. And just any water that's in there from any of the steam, just take it out, and then just put it on here to rest. Okay, and there we go, and we'll see you guys in a few. We're gonna let that cool down. Now let's go to the pot, get the trivet out of there, dump the water, and then rinse it out and bring it right back into the Instant Pot. And then make sure you dry the inside of the pot out when you bring it back after you've rinsed it, because we're gonna put some oil in there. But first, let's come down to the pot and hit keep warm cancel, and then hit the sauté function and adjust so it's on the more or high setting depending on your model. And let's add in a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and 2 tablespoons or 1/4 of a stick of salted butter. And then once our butter is all melted and everything starts to bubble a bit, let's add the shallots. And then stir everything up in there together for about 3 minutes until the shallots have begun to soften and turn a little brown in color. And then after a few minutes of our shallots sizzling in the oil and the butter, we're going to add a tablespoon of crushed or minced garlic. And then stir that in for another minute until it gets nice and, cooked up with the shallots. Garlic cooks very quickly and it tends to want to stick to the bottom of the pot, so just keep stirring it in there for another minute. Alright, and once it looks like this in color, we're looking good. And now the broth of the soup is going to be unbelievable, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon of the roasted garlic base by Better Than Bouillon and mix with 1 cup of water, and then add that to the Instant Pot. Then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of the chicken base. Any kind is fine. This is organic reduced sodium because it's the giant one that Costco sells, and it's on sale usually pretty often at Costco. Amazing price. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of this mixed with 2 cups of water. Now, if you cannot find that garlic base, you can just use 3 teaspoons of this mixed with 3 cups of water, making it 3 cups of chicken broth. But I highly recommend, if you can find the roasted garlic flavor, making 1 cup of this with 2 cups of the chicken is gonna be, oh my gosh, unreal. So I'm gonna add in my 1 cup of garlic broth, and then I'm gonna add in my 2 cups of chicken broth. And again, if you can't find the garlic broth, just use 3 cups of chicken broth. Now I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of seasoned salt. I would suggest seasoned salt. A teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of dried sage, and a teaspoon of dried thyme. And now just mix everything together in the pot. Just give it a good stir. And now let's secure our lid. There we go. Make sure we're in sealing position. And then hit keep warm cancel down here, and then hit manual, and we're gonna just go down on this, guys, for 3 minutes. That's it. And now that our squash has had a chance to cool down a little bit, we're gonna be ready to scoop out all of the insides away from the edge. If there's any skin on there, just leave it be. Don't put it in there, but just scoop out. This is a lot easier, by the way, to do with 2 hands, and instead of holding a camera like I am right now. And then put all of the meat of all of the squash in a mixing bowl. And we really only want to scoop out all the tender part of it. If there's any part of the squash that still feels a little firm, just leave it be for now. We're not going to really touch that. We're going to probably just discard it. And again, we want to make sure that the skin of the squash stays intact on the squash. We don't want that in there. So let's repeat the rest with all of the squash. Okay, perfect. It really does look like kind of ice cream, doesn't it? Alright, so that's all the squash in there. We have plenty of it again, so it's okay if we have some left in there. If it's a little firmer, we don't really want to scoop it in there. We want the soft parts. And then just set that lovely smelling and sweet tasting acorn squash aside while our soup finishes cooking. Alright, quick release that now. Alright, the lid comes off. And, well, there's our soup. Kind of boring right now, but it's not going to be for much longer because we're now going to add in all of our squash. And then just use a spoon and sort of just like press the squash in so it's mixed in with the liquid, because now we have to play with our favorite soup toy, and that would be our immersion blender. Place the immersion blender inside the pot and begin. Puree all of the squash into the liquid. And look at that, the perfect squash soup consistency. Fantastic. Just make sure everything is really nice and pureed in there because we want it to look just like this. We're just about done, but we have a few more ingredients to add. We're going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and a third of a cup of a grated Parmesan cheese, and mix that in with our soup. And then the final ingredient we have is some heavy cream. I'm going to add a half a cup of it. And then just give that a final stir. And our soup is looking absolutely gorgeous, sensational, phenomenal, lovely. And isn't that just a lovely, stunning, creamy squash soup? Now, this is the time where you get to taste the soup and make sure it's up to your standards. If you want more salt, add more salt. If you want it a little spicier, add more pepper. It's completely up to you, but I'm gonna Goldilocks this and tell you that I think it's just right. All right, let's ladle it into some bowls. Go, and just put that right into this. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, fabulous. All right, now let's top it off with a little garnish. A bit of Parmesan, a few shakes of some pepper, and a little bit of thyme. All right, time to serve it up. It's time to slurp up some of this soup. What do you say? Wow, that is a tasty, tasty soup. Wow, 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 wow. You put this out as the first course for your Thanksgiving meal, everybody's going to be flipping out about what's going to come next, because they're going to be like, if everything's this good, we're in for a treat. This soup is so perfectly rich and creamy, and the perfect consistency in there. The garlic base adds so much to it. Again, if you don't have garlic base, you only have chicken broth, you can just use 3 cups of that instead of 2 cups of the chicken broth and 1 cup of the garlic broth. But I'm telling you, I think it adds a lot to it. To me, this is even better than a butternut squash soup. I think it's absolutely the cat's pajamas. If there are any squirrels around here, they're gonna fight me for this right now. I'm telling you right now. This is one of my favorite soups I've ever made, ever. And I'm a huge soup connoisseur. I'm like a soup fiend. And I'm telling you right now, I swear by this soup. The cream and mushroom I love, my hot and sour I love, my tom kha gai I love, and now my acorn squash I love. What a delicious, unbelievable soup. So creamy, so phenomenal. The texture is just heaven. And this isn't even just for Thanksgiving, because this soup will be amazing any time of year, especially in the fall. But man, at the table at Thanksgiving, people are going to be giving thanks to you after this one. Guys, if you enjoy these recipes, if you like the videos, there's a video for each and every single recipe that are so easy to follow and amazing results. Go to PressureLoveCooking.com, hover over any photo there, pin any recipe to any board of your choice. In the upper left corner, it'll say save. That's how you pin it. I have Facebook. Go to Facebook.com/PressureLoveCooking and like the page. Tons of tips, tons of memes, tons of live videos, just a lot of stuff you can't get anywhere else there. Subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter. Whenever a recipe comes out that's new, it gets tweeted out. And of course, like me on Instagram. I have all this stuff, guys. Thank you so much again for all your support, and I am giving thanks to all of you and to Acorn Squash Soup.